And we're back. We're back already. Just finished watching episode 2, Hard Knocks, New York Giants offseason. And yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Listen, if you're a New York Giants fan and you do not like what you're seeing on Hard Knocks for whatever reason, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but if you don't like what you're seeing, man, I don't know what to tell you. I'm loving every minute of Hard Knocks right now. Every minute of it, more than I thought I was going to love it. I'm loving every minute of Hard Knocks right now. And then today's episode was exactly what I thought it was going to be focused on. It was Combine week. We got a chance to see some of the player interviews, some of the on-field activities, glimpses of that. We got to see Brian Daboll was featured a little bit more on this video. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about all of that in this video. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're a New York Giants fan, the way that I'm a New York Giants fan, yeah, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. You won't be disappointed. So, first off, I want to say this. Brian Daboll is absolutely delusional when it comes to 40 speed. His own 40 speed, I should say. First, he's talking about he can run a 7-flat 40. The guy's trying to talk about it like, no way you're running a 7-flat 40. Nobody agreed with him at all. I don't agree either. And then when you see Xavier Worthy break the record, well, actually his first attempt was 4.25, and Brian Daboll goes to the guys and he's like, so you're telling me if I start at the 20 and Xavier Worthy starts at the regular starting line, I can beat him to the 40-yard line. And Brandon Brown's like, brother, stop. And then McDonald was like, I saw you run across the street yesterday. some comedic relief. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, Brian Daboll, delusional. I would love to see you run the 40, just for the heck of it, but nah. I don't think so. But again, this episode had a bunch of information, very entertaining. Got to find out a lot of things. Got some more, some more resolution with the whole Saquon Barkley thing. But I'll get into that in just a minute. I love the way that Brian Daboll in those meetings with the quarterbacks, and while we're talking about these quarterbacks, Michael Penix's name was not mentioned at all. Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. They talked about every other top quarterback except for Michael Penix. And I thought that was kind of surprising. They interviewed Rome Odunze. They interviewed Marvin Harrison. They interviewed a lot of, Malik Nabers, of course. But they went through these quarterbacks, and we already know that the New York Giants met with Michael Penix, but they chose not to have that as a part of, the show. And I thought that was kind of funny, but it is what it is. But also, shout out to Brian Daboll. We got to see, what makes him tick a little bit. We saw him, coaching up the quarterback prospects, having them draw up plays on a whiteboard, their favorite plays, and testing them. And then, he was spitting plays out and making those guys, spit the play back out to them, back to him and stuff like that. And a lot of guys were out there being impressive, and they, all that head coach, quarterback, mumbo jumbo lingo and stuff like that. It was cool to see. But my one takeaway from that is you see Joe Shane hit the hallway a little bit, and this is cut. These are edits. We don't know if this was before or after these meetings, but he's on the phone. Don't know who he's speaking with, but he's talking about quarterback and with Daniel Jones being injured and coming off of the ACL. He's saying we have to sign a backup quarterback before we even think about drafting a quarterback. That's what he said. So to me, and to a lot of people, yes, they did their due diligence with the quarterback, but it really does seem like they're all in on Daniel Jones, but just in case they're kicking the tires on these quarterback prospects. That's what I got out of the episode. That's how it was edited, I should say. And that's what we saw. That's what my eyeballs saw today, was him pretty much doubling down again on Daniel Jones, especially him, but still talking about how important it is to have that backup quarterback, because he said we can't wait. We can't wait 3 games for Daniel Jones to come and go 0-3. That's what he said straight out of the horse's mouth. So I thought that was pretty cool that he talked about that. Another thing that they talked about is they mentioned the wide receivers. Again, they had Rome Odunze interviewed. They interviewed Marvin Harrison, of course. They interviewed Malik Nabers. You see Brian Daboll walk up to Joe Schoen and he's talking about how he was watching Malik Nabers and, pretty much just loved him. Everybody, all the scouts, GMs, AGMs, personnels, all that stuff, everybody loved Malik Nabers. They knew he had some edge. Brandon Brown's talking about, yeah, that's what we need on this team. We need that dog. He said, you show me a wide receiver, cornerback, or edge rusher that doesn't have that little bit of edge to him. He's absolutely right. So for all the people that are critical of Malik Nabers, again, the man works hard. He can do what he wants to do as long as it doesn't affect his play. And obviously, if it's not breaking the laws or anything like that. But you can't deny the player on the field. You can't deny it at all. And one thing I thought was pretty cool, not pretty cool, but interesting, is they said with his attitude. And again, they said during the interview, he seemed to be a lot more calmer than the guy that's on the field. And he said he's the type of guy that'll get after the quarterback if he's not getting the ball. Unlike Rome Odunze, unlike Marvin Harrison, as they were interviewed and said as much. Malik Nabers said, yeah, I am upset when I don't get the ball. I hate losing. He said, I hate losing more than I love winning. Brian Daboll loved that. And Brandon Brown said, whoever's the Q is what he said. Will they be able to handle that? And Joe Schoen was right back like, I already spoke to Daniel Jones about it and about Malik Nabers, and he loves Malik Nabers. It's funny, man. It's funny, but that's exactly what he said. Again, go ahead and check it out if you don't believe me. Now, getting over to something. Let me go get into some of these quotes, man, because I do have some quotes. So, one of the big rumors when they said that the New York Giants were interested in trading up with the Patriots. We actually saw the conversation happen. It was recorded. And, they pretty much put out the feelers saying, you know what, before you make any kind of moves, let us know. He was talking to Elliot Wolf, the GM. I think he's a GM. Maybe he doesn't have that title yet, but he's the guy that makes those type of decisions for the Patriots. He was talking to Elliot Wolf and said, pretty much, before you guys make any moves with the pick, go ahead and give us a holler. We could talk about things. And Elliot Wolf said, I had about 3 more teams call me and say the same thing. And they asked him where you were picking. Joe Schoen said 6. And I don't know what that means. But again, there was a conversation about trading up to 3. So we can go ahead and confirm that. During the meetings, and again, when Brian Daboll was talking to Malik Nabers or interviewing Malik Nabers, they were talking about, his temper and stuff like that, and, how he hates to lose and stuff like that. And sometimes he might have a little bit of a temper. And Brian Daboll shot right back at him and said, sometimes I lose my temper too. And then right when he said that, Joe Schoen smiled and grabbed him on the shoulder and stuff, like pretty much like, I know. We've seen it. We've seen you spaz out before. Pretty cool too. Let's see. Also, I thought it was pretty cool quote too from Joe Schoen. He was saying that and this is talking about the acquisition of Brian Burns and what it would take to get Brian Burns. So, we got to give up 2 twos and then also possibly 28 or 29 million. And that's what he said to Brian Daboll. And then he laughed and said, and then I'll have to play cornerback. So with me, I'm listening to everything, trying to catch every hint. They knew they needed another cornerback, which they did pick up a cornerback in the draft, but it made it seem like since they're spending money on Brian Burns, and we're going to have to pay Brian Burns, I guess whoever they were looking at cornerback was a possible free agent that they would have to pay, since we're talking about money, and who knows who that could have been. Because now they're saying, the money, and this is my interpretation of it, the money that we were going to go ahead and try to find a cornerback with the pair with Deontay Banks. Brian Burns might get that money, and guess what? We got to figure out what's going to happen with cornerback, and obviously we know right now penciled in is Cordell Flott at cornerback 2, but was cornerback 2 the original idea for Cordell Flott, or is that just something that we had to deal with because of money? Again, we'll see what happens with that. Let's see what else we got here. Just getting into the Saquon Barkley stuff, man. So we did see 2 phone calls. We saw the phone call between Joe Schoen and Saquon Barkley's agent, pretty much telling him the same thing. We're going to let Saquon Barkley test the market, right? See what he has, and, hopefully he can bring that back. Let him test the market, see what the market is. And the one thing the agent said that caught my eye was like, when you go to bed at night, are you worried about, losing Saquon Barkley? So pretty much saying you're not losing any sleep over losing Saquon Barkley. You know, he kind of played and did his GM talk and stuff, hung up with him, turned around and called Saquon Barkley right after that. And let me tell you something about Saquon Barkley. You can tell by his tone. You can tell by his tone that he was not trying to hear nothing, no friendly talk, no small talk from Joe Schoen at all. Hey Saquon, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing all right. What's going on? Just chilling with the fam. Yeah, so we're gonna let you test the market and stuff like that. So, but you know what? We still want you back. This and the other. Okay, yeah. Well, he was like, can you promise me that? Can you promise me that? If you go out there, yeah, you can come back. He said, what you mean? Circling back. Joe said, being a New York Giant or something, you promise that you can, or you give us your word that you're gonna, come back. Saquon said, I already told you where I want to be. Saquon Barkley was too through with this situation. Man. And you can hear it all on the phone. He was done. When they were talking about another episode about being disrespected, this, that, and the third, Saquon was so done. Could they have possibly gave him more money? Possibly, but he was still, he sounded like he was so done with the situation. And guess what? 2 years of negotiations. You're probably going to be done with that too. And you can see that both sides were tired of it. And Joe Schoen, to me, Joe Schoen put up a little front when he was talking to Saquon Barkley because he was already fully prepared to lose him. He was already looking for his replacement. Rightfully so, though. Rightfully so. Now, pretty much the episode ends with that. But they start playing the preview for next week's episode. And you caught a little bit of a glimpse of what Joe Schoen offered Saquon Barkley. If my ears are correct, he said it was a 3-year deal. APY was 12 and a half, and it was 25 guaranteed. Now I got to go back and look to see what Philly gave him, but a 3-year deal, 12.5 million per and 25 million guaranteed. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. That sounds like a pretty good deal, but I'll wait till next week's episode to confirm that, and we'll see what happens. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.